We're so excited to share our 4-part framework for every single business we have ever done that helps us get to success. So each video will have a different part. Make sure you stay tuned and watch them all. Advice, things that are working for you, things that you might be struggling with as we're going through all of this. And we'll just get started. I wanted to just talk to you a little bit about what this training is about and who it's for. So it's for you if you've said you're working too many hours, you need freedom of time, you want control over your day and not just stuck in the whirlwind. You have a million thoughts without focus. You do not have clarity on what to do next. You have feelings of shame, maybe guilt with not spending time with your family or doing other things that you find joy in. You're super stressed and overwhelmed. You have a strong desire to succeed. You are paying employees and maybe not getting the results you want, feeling some resentment there. You feel pressure from spouse, family, or society, and you just are like all over the place, right? Feel a little unorganized. So if you've ever said any of these things, I want you to let us know what resonates with you. Have you ever said, I don't have enough money or profit? I'm handcuffed to my business. I'm working too many hours. I'm resenting my employees because you're still working like an employee yourself. There's no consistency, processes, or execution. You're chasing things that don't seem to be moving the needle, and you feel like you're losing the battle between balancing your sales and your retention. And you're here for the right reason, right? So what if you could step away from your business confidently anytime you feel like it and have systems in place to ensure that you're profitable, or have an agency that people are breaking down the doors to work in? Start actually seeing and scaling month-to-month revenue that you've been wanting to have in your business. Could you look back 12 months from now and see your growth, the hard work you're putting in, expanding your team, your vision, and your business, or knowing exactly where you're going, how you're going to do it, and have it all scheduled so you never feel lost again and know exactly where you should be and what you should be focused on? So if any of this feels like you, I want you to know that none of those things are really your problem. The problem for me at least was, and I found this to be the case with most people, is that you haven't been focusing on the things that really matter in your business. And to be fair, most of us get in this industry not because we are entrepreneurs or because we may know business. We get into this industry for its opportunity. We're about to talk about the things that you should be focusing on and how to actually structure a business so that you can have time and financial freedom. So with that said, I want to take a second before we keep going and remind you to try to limit distractions as much as you can and stay focused. Try to silence your cell phone, shut the windows on your computer, close the door if you have to, grab a notebook and pen. Trust me, you're going to want to write a lot of things down. And you're here for a reason. You made a commitment. You all showed up. Like, the doers are in this training right now. So honor your time and stay focused, and we'd love to do the same. I'm going to show you how you can make the ultimate shift from struggling to make money in your agency and feeling stretched too thin and confused as to what to do next to make your agency successful. So we're going to work on expanding profits and free your time by just working through a 4-part framework. And the goal of this is to design your business for you and not you working within your business and just letting it go by building results by default, right? We want to have control. We want to be the CEOs, and I'm going to show you what you need to do to step into that role. So some of you don't know me, some of you do, and you might be thinking like, who is this chick? Well, my name is Cassidy Arbelli, and my entrepreneurial journey started in 2010 when I just started working in business. And currently I have 5 different businesses and 5 different income streams in different industries. I opened my insurance agency, my first one, in 2012. I started with State Farm. I was a captive insurance agent. And if any of you are familiar with State Farm, we had to sell everything under the sun. We couldn't even get an opportunity if we didn't have like 9 licenses between property, casualty, life, health. We had to have our series, even our mortgage license. So when it comes to insurance products and sales, I have sold all of it. And we started niching down into commercial. We became #1 in the West Coast for commercial insurance. We qualified for all the awards, all the trips, all the bonuses, but we realized that we had a cap and a lot of business was being sent out the door. And so in 2017, we decided to open a brokerage. Within 2 years, it was actually the end of 2017, and within a year, we qualified and won top agency in sales in our territory. In 2020 and 2021, we won Best of Las Vegas for insurance agency in our city, which we will get it again in 2022, and we will be a 3-time winner. And I opened 2 agencies selling consistently $3 million a year in premium with just 2 salespeople, and 1 service person. Okay, stick with me. We're going to talk about that a little bit more today. So currently, I'm focused as a business strategist, consulting with other business owners to guide them to financial and time freedom, because I don't want anyone to ever have to go through what I went through. And hopefully I can help you today maybe minimize some of that stuff and only focus on the things that really matter. Here's just a little information about what I'm talking about when we sell what we sell every single year, which is 2 salespeople. So this is what we sold in 1 month with 2 salespeople. Every single lead came to us. We didn't have to beg anybody to do business with us. We really didn't do very much follow-up, and we also had a blast doing that. But I say we, I was actually on vacation. So this is the results that you can get consistently with less people if you stick around and really pay attention to some of the things I'm going to go over today. 4 parts we're going to get through, and some of these things are going to be very directly spoken to you, and some of these things might be things you already know, but it's important to hear things a million times and sometimes from different people with different perspectives. So just stick through it with me. And again, if you have any questions, make sure you're doing #Q so that we can find you. So the first part of the framework is something that I call the intention, or you can call it purpose and branding, but really it's about the setup. And the setup is all about understanding what your business's purpose is and why it matters in your life, in your team's life, in your client's life, and within your community. It's the most crucial foundational step that businesses need to know and buy into every single day and every time that they are conducting business and showing up in their office and all the things. So I want you to take a second, and you may not be able to do this fully, but make sure you're writing it down so that you can come back to this. And I want you to think to yourself, when you're at your very best, what does this version of you look like? What do you believe? How do you talk to yourself? How do you behave? In what ways do you show up? And how do you feel on a consistent basis? If you close your eyes right now and try to paint this picture for yourself, what does the vision of who you are and the purpose of your business, if you could think of 10 years from now, what your business would look like if everything worked the way you wanted it to? What would that look like? What results would you have at that 10-year mark? What would you be doing every single day? I want you to think about that, because that's really truly what the vision is. And it helps you figure out your why. People lose their way when they lose their why. And I know it's cliche to say why, find your why, use your why, connect with your why, because it works. There is a reason why some of the top performing business owners and entrepreneurs in the world talk about this, because there's always going to be a point when you're an entrepreneur that you suddenly realize what actually works and what actually matters. And I'm all about you designing your business to work for you and what matters to you, not just what you think everybody else is doing or what you think needs to be done just based on what everyone else is doing, right? We're going to talk a little bit about how to structure that. But my why is what helps me get up every day, and show up helps me understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. And the thing is, when people think about their why, a lot of times for a very long time, I was like, I just want money. I just want money. I just want money, which money is great. And I want a lot of it, but it's totally okay to unapologetically say you want money. Nothing wrong with it. However, that's not the true reason. That's not the purpose. That's not why I was born into this world. Like, what's really my why? And most people only go 1 to 2 layers deep in trying to figure out what drives them. But what drives you is very deep, and it's at your core. And most of us are not even conscious of what that is. You've got to do some work. You have to go deeper and understand what is truly your purpose and why it matters so much to you in your life. There's one life we have to live, right? Your business is a tool that you get to use in your life, and you get to create it and you get to build it. You're the creator of this thing. So you have to spend some time figuring out what that looks like. So your vision is understanding what your business purpose is and why it matters in your life, your team's life, your client's life, your community, and how it's the most crucial step that you need to take within your business. So this is the first piece to the first step in the framework for setting up your business and working with intention. The next thing is, you can't know what you need to do if you don't know what the gap is. And the gap is trying to figure out where you are to where you want to go. We just talked about vision. We're going to visualize and we're going to decide and we're going to plan exactly what it is that we want our life to look like based on this vision, what we want our business to look like. But in order to figure out what the gap is, you have to know where you're starting from. So as you set your goals, you want to be honest and real about where you're starting. You have to face reality with unshakable optimism, which I know sometimes is hard, but it's time to get positioned and it's time to get focused, which is why we're talking about this, which is why you're here right now. And if you can think about the gap in the sense of you trying to use Waze or Google Maps to get from point A to point B, from where you currently are to your destination. Well, if you've ever used those apps, you know you can put in an address, but if it can't figure out where your current location is, it can't help you map it out. So we need to know where your current location is. So it's important for you to be real and honest about where you're starting from. And then you can begin to create goals and set goals based on what your vision is. So I like to create goals based on 10-year, 5-year, 1 year, and 90 days. I always start at the top and reverse engineer what that needs to be all the way down into 90 days. And we'll also talk a little bit about what you do with those 90 days, creating a roadmap of what it's going to take for you to reach those goals. And once you know where you're going, it's time to dive into what each step of that roadmap is going to look like for you to be able to get there. So once you know the purpose of your business and you know kind of what the goals are, you need to create a unique and authentic brand, but you will create this authentic brand around you. We're in an industry that feels like it's a commodity. We feel like every other corner of the street, there's an insurance agent or somebody doing what we're doing. But the thing is they're not you. And you bring something unique into this business. You bring something unique into your business and into the experience that your clients can have and what you can offer. And so if you can think about how you can attract your ideal clients and ensure your marketing efforts have a high return, it's going to allow you to work smarter, not harder. The reason why I said all those leads come to us is because we worked really hard on building our brand over the years. So a brand, if anybody wants to know a little bit more in detail of what I'm talking about, because sometimes branding and marketing can get confusing. A brand is really the heartbeat of your business. It's the representation of who you are at your core. It's what you want to be known for, what your brand promises, the problems that you solve with your solutions, and who you do them for. So if your brand has meaning to you, it's going to have meaning to others because of how you show up to talk about it, because how you show up to sell it. Right? People can tell when you have passion. People can tell when you're being authentic. People can tell when you are really standing within who you are and what matters to you. You show up differently. And this is where you build a pipeline of people choosing to work with you because of what your brand represents and who it exists for. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a second, but I want you to hear me when I say what I'm about to say. If you are multitasking, come back to me. Your brand matters more than your marketing. I'm going to say that again. Your brand matters more than your marketing because branding and marketing are not the same. A brand has to be built with the leader's vision in mind and for the exact person you're trying to target. The more you can niche down into who and what that is, the more market share you're going to gain with less effort. So figuring out your ideal client can be as easy as just thinking about that one person who calls your business and you pick up the phone with no hesitation. They're a joy for you to work with, right? This is the client that's willing to pay for what things are worth, the client that trusts you, the client that respects you, the client that sends more people your way. And it's also important to talk about building a personal brand. Because when you start building a personal brand, your business brand is going to get bigger. And if you ever decide to do something different, maybe not leave the industry, but add in more businesses or more things into your income streams, it's going to be based off your personal brand than it is going to be based off your business brand. So it's important when you're thinking about branding to think about both. When you can identify your ideal client, you're going to know exactly what marketing avenues you're going to use to get your brand across. And then you can niche down. There's a reason why they say that the riches are in the niches. We niche down into commercial and we 10x our sales and our profitability just by going down to one product. So I know some of you have different product lines, come from different parts of our industry, and some of you get scared to niche down. But I talk about niching down like if you were going to go fishing, would you rather go fishing in an ocean with a million fish, or would you rather go fishing in a small pond with a ton of fish and make it a lot easier for you to hit your target? Thinking about where your ideal client is hanging out, who do they hang out with, and how can you get in front of them so that you can get your brand out there? So when you know your vision and you have your goals and you know your brand, you can then also communicate it to your team. so that they can become a unified extension of your business to create the sales and momentum that you need to really scale and be profitable, even without you there. Okay, so here's the deal. Most of the time, when it comes to these things, we stay mediocre because nothing ends up getting our full attention, right? We're stuck in this whirlwind. I was talking to a client today and she's like, I just can't seem to get focused. Like everything's just coming my way. When you can work on your setup that we just kind of talked about and make the plan based on what's important to you and only you, then reverse engineer, right? We have the vision, we have the goals, we reverse engineer it all the way down to what we've got to focus on for the next 90 days. The rest of this framework is going to help you become focused and aligned on what you decide you want most and what you value most. Because in today's world, it's so easy for us to get distracted and off track, right? In order for you to be great, in order to achieve greatness, when you choose to do the right things you know you need to do, that's how you achieve it. And the difference between greatness and mediocrity is very, very slim. I went to a Tony Robbins event and he said the difference between going from good to great is 2 millimeters. Like if you can measure it, it's literally 2 millimeters, 2 millimeters. Yet the difference of the results across the long term, when you can do all of these things we're talking about consistently, are going to blow your mind on the results that you can achieve when you're super focused and hyper aligned with what it is that you want. We are committed to doing this right for us and not playing small, but playing full out. So who here is ready to play full out? Who's been playing full out? Who is in this? Let me know, because I want to hear you. This part that we just went through is all about taking the time to go deep with yourself, get in touch with what really matters. Life is meant to be lived to fulfillment. I spent time doing all the things that I thought I needed to do, getting to the top of the reports, winning the awards, taking the trips, hanging out with people I honestly probably didn't even really like. And I got the money and everything was working well, but I wasn't fulfilled. And feeling fulfilled is as unique as the human race. Every single person on this planet has a different idea of what fulfills them and what makes them happy and what brings them joy and what gives them purpose. And the worst thing that can happen is having success and still not feeling fulfilled. And so that's why we're doing this right now, because I want you to figure out what that is before you do anything else. Because I promise you, I've been there. I was there and I did everything I was told, but I wasn't doing it for me. I was doing it for someone else's vision because I didn't have my own. I didn't know what that was. I didn't take the time to do this. How do you design your business to get you there? We get micro and we get focused. Where focus goes, energy flows. I really do sound like Tony Robbins now, don't I? For crying out loud. Okay. Let's make sure to get you excited to do the work that is needed so that when you step away from your business and it's running without you, you can get excited to live the life that you actually created. So that is what part 1 is all about. Come back next Monday for part 2 of the framework. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video and found value, please hit the subscribe button, like and comment, and share this video. See you next week.